Here we go, a 2002 GTX Di that I've had for about a year now, and just been plagued with different issues due to just abuse, neglect, and too many mechanics. So we're just getting back into it now. The engine has been rebuilt in the last video, and now it's time to pop this thing in. I've done a whole ton of these things. It's all the same over and over again. So just try and get the critical hard things first. I've labeled everything: your vent for your counterbalance, hook up the oil. There's a little fitting here. That's the oil return for the air compressor. That's the hardest one to get at. And then on the other side, we have a couple of grounds, and the starter hot side there is a little tough to get at. I hooked the ground up already. There's another small ground that's going to go on there. So we'll put all those things on. As you can see, I labeled everything. So it's pretty much just grab it, plug it in, keep going. That one has no label. We'll have to figure out where that one goes. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. So let's get in the stand and let's get going. So I got a few goodies hooked up before she drops down. This went to the throttle body, another one there to the throttle body, and another pipe here to the throttle body, which we labeled. Got the throttle cable connected up. Squeeze the throttle. Everything works. Alignment marks align. Hooked up the power to the starter. So that's a go. What else we got here? Oh yeah, I got the pipe on the bottom of the air compressor for the oil drain, and also the vent for the counterbalance. So now at this point, we've got all the difficult to reach items assembled. So I'm gonna drop it down, and then we'll put the rest of the pipes on. Do all that before I even bolt the engine down. Okay, moving on. What else we got here? That pipe's got to hook up. Drop her down a bit more. Should have pulled the drive shaft out. Still can. I'm going to pull the drive shaft out. The other thing I'm going to do, I guess, is hook up the oil line right now, because I've got a temporary through the engine mount. So I'm going to do that quick. Okay. And we got some connectors. I'm gonna just spray them off. A little bit of contact cleaner. So we got a map sensor and a throttle position sensor. And another one over here. Throttle position, and that one's clean. And ground wires on. And that's the air pressure sensor. Let's see here. Anything else on this side? Don't think so. And just continuing to plug things in and hook things up. That's the line for the air compressor to the rave solenoid. Oh, I'm gonna have to heat that up with a heat gun, I'm pretty sure. Maybe. She's going. Yeah, and now that won't go over. All right, let's see if we can push it on. I love the room in here. Okay, I think I'm going to take the direct injection rail off. Need some. It's just easier with it not there. Okay, what do we got here? We got connectors everywhere. That's for the fuel injector. That is for the temperature sensor. There's another air injector here. And there's that one. Right there. There's also a big water line. All right, I gotta tighten that down. Okay, show you what I'm doing. That's the big water line right there that comes off the back of the cylinder head. And what else? Knock sensor. Put that on. Good. What else? Not putting those bolts in. I put one up at the front. So we got our two fuel injectors. What else we got here? This goes to the exhaust as well. I think now we're ready. Squeeze this in there. Going. Whoa. Now we got to hook up the air and return fuel. Nice and crusty, the way I like it there. I think that's the return. And I'll bet you they both fit too. Or do they? No, they don't. That's right. Good. Okay. Then we have fuel supply. And the locking bracket and a little bit of Loctite. And a little bit of air, make it all go. Just gonna throw another dab of Loctite on these. It's got a lock washer on it. Okay, crank her down. Rave solenoid to rave valve. When is that going to go in? Fuel injector control wires. Where are you? I think I got one here. Okay. Other than a battery, I think we got everything all hooked up. Not thrilled about this oil line. She's a little taut. So might have to deal with that. Okay. Engine alignment. Just having a look around. The last once over. Got everything hooked up except for the exhaust here. And we got to get that plastic case in here. So maybe I'll get the box in here. Yeah. Okay. That's this guy right here. And that goes there, and then there should be a cotter pin. Looks like that. Okay, before we put the top part of the exhaust, once that exhaust is in the way, I can't tighten the front engine mount. So we're gonna align the engine first. And I just put the alignment, part of the alignment tool, just slides right in. I'll bolt that on, Then we'll put the alignment rod in there. And away we go. Okay, let's see where we're at. Might have to take some shims out of there. Actually not. She's sitting pretty good right there. Remove and reinsert. Oh yeah, that is great. Throw a little torque on it. There's no way I'm going 30. I already spun one off before, so I know the hard way. And exhaust time. Oh. We got her gooped up. And it gets on everything. One there. And one there. And a couple of zip ties. Okay. What else do you see? That goes on the bottom of the exhaust. Yeah, drop you down and you can see right down there. Maybe you can see it. So let me hook that up. Can't show you that. Film it. And good times. Okay. That's enough for now. So two-part test. One is to see if it even runs. And then the next one, we'll hook it up on the hose and see if we get any leaks. Actually, it's going to be a 3-part test. And then finally, put it in the water, test it again. I think I got everything though. Let's see what happens. I gotta get a tether. Let's prime the fuel pump first. Oh, that had air in it. Cobwebs. Moment of truth. Got a very weak battery. Not liking that idle. Let's get her hooked up on the water and we'll see what's going on. And just like that. Alignment tool we don't need there anymore. We didn't do one thing. I already know. That part that I always say I won't forget and forget every time, I forgot again. Exhaust. Got to tighten that clamp. Gonna do that and then we're going up the hill. All right, here we are up the hill. Hooked up to the hose. Hopefully get enough battery. Barely, barely. These don't like bad batteries. Smoking. We got a bit of a leak here for sure. Where is it leaking? I can hear it running. Gotta do some searching. Wonder what that's for. Right at the center bottom of the cylinders is an output for water, and way back there I don't know if you can see below the cable, another pipe goes on there, so I gotta pop that on. That's where all the water's coming from. So let's do that. I changed the plugs, and the battery is definitely pooched, and I think that's why it's not running properly. So I'm gonna go get a new battery. So water pipe now hooked up. That was an absolute nightmare trying to get your hand down inside there. It's almost impossible, but I just kept at it and got it hooked up and zip tied on. And so we're gonna go up and test that. And the other thing was with that surging, I thought before I go up the hill, I'm going to hook up an amp meter on the battery there and see, because it sparked when I would hook up the power, and it was drawing like 4 amps. So I thought, well, that's no good. So I'm messing around, unclipping, moving wires. I unclip the front fuel injector, amps go to 0. Clip it back on, amps go up 4 amps. Put a tester on it, which I have one of these little testers, which are just amazing, and I just put a fuel injection clip on the end of it, and it was shorted out. So I had to put a new fuel injector on it, so hopefully that's going to be the issue of the surging solved. So let's take it back up, put it on the hose, and let it run for a bit. And we're on the hose. Important point, even though you rebuild the engine, you can do a flawless, perfect job, and you still run into other little quirks that the machine has, or things that you've created in pulling the engine and putting it back together and missing parts. But I didn't like that fuel injector, the way it was running. That wasn't the stock one, like I said. So I've gone back to the original, but what I discovered was, let's see if I can find a fuel injector here. One of them has an O-ring right here in this groove, and the other one didn't. And the one that didn't was the one that was acting up. Put another O-ring on it, now it's working properly. So I popped the pump back on. We're just going to take her right down to the water, get right into water testing, see whether this thing's going to run or not. So let me get her down to the lake and bring you back. So the erratic idle turned into something more, because when I did take the Seadoo down to the lake just to do a in-water test, just to see how it was performing, it wouldn't even start. It would just start and stall instantly. So then I came back up and I thought, you know, after I messed with changing the fuel injectors, no change, checked all the air pressure, fuel pressure, everything again, all the typical things, I thought, just for fun, I'll swap the air injectors from front to back. And immediately upon doing that, where the PTO was stalling out, I switched them around and the mag stalled out. So then I remembered I swapped this one out after I pulled it out, because the nylon ring was cracked on the original, and this one had a good ring on it. Well, I never tested this thing. It does, when you hook it up to the CANDO Pro and activate it, it does activate. You can hear it buzz, but it must be plugged, because it won't allow the air to go through properly, and that caused my stalling out problem. So there you go, you know, you just don't know. These things, there's probably 35 or 40 things that make them run bad, and it's quite a tough thing to figure it out, but sooner or later you do get through it. I did try something else too. I bought these injectors, they want like $200 or $300 on eBay. I got these things for like 25 bucks. It's exactly the same part number on them. Everything's the same except for that hole right there. They both work. I'm going to do more testing on that. I don't know whether that's some sort of pressure relief thing. I'm not sure. But that's something in the future I'd like to test out, because that's a heck of a lot cheaper than those. But don't know exactly what the issue would be running one without those holes. So anyway, let's go out. I put the Seadoo on the lift. We can go out and take it for a little rip. Can't go full speed because we're just in the process of breaking it in, but you can see it start and run. Where's all the water going? Just like that. One more thing I'm going to point out, I don't know if you can hear it, the rattling. And it does have an anti-rattle piece in the cone, but on the drive shaft there's a little rubber bumper that goes on either end, and I didn't have them. They were also missing, so I've got those on order. So we're going to replace those. Outside of that, I just got to put maybe an hour of driving on this thing to get it somewhat broken in. It's a new crank, but reuse the top end, and everything seems to be working well. Valuable lesson. Oh, I guess maybe I can open this. Let's see here. Yeah. There's a good shot at the air injector right there. So I swapped that one, and that's when the mag side started acting up. Actually, I can't remember now which way it was, but anyway, I swapped them out, and that was where the issue arose. New air injector, now it just starts instantly, no erratic idle. So I say we're all good. I'm also going to lengthen up the oil line. That thing is like taut, so I'm just going to extend that. But I was kind of anxious to get it in the water and get it tested, and now we know that it works. So I've got a few things that I want to do, and like I said, extend the oil line, pull the drive shaft off, and put the rubber bumper in on either side. I think that's about it. Other than that, runs really, really nice. So that's about all I have to say about that. Okay guys, so that's it for the 2002 RX Di rebuild. We learned a lot on this thing trying to get it apart. Saltwater ski, just don't buy a saltwater ski and try and rebuild it. There's nothing that's any good. Everything on this machine has been touched and tweaked. Every cable, every bolt was stripped. Yeah, throttle cable, the nut, the jam nut is stripped, so I'll have to change the throttle cable. The steering cable was seized solid. Pump was, what was the deal with the pump? We had to pull that all apart. Seals were bad, no oil in it. Redid all of that. I was sold on this machine because the hull was so beautiful. Like the condition of everything else and the seats and everything were great. And that's always the part hard to fix because it's cosmetic and you've got to sand and paint and gel coat and all that stuff. So anyway, I got it for a good price, but I ended up spending a ton of money on it, rebuilding it. But geez, the thing runs great now. So hopefully I'll get to enjoy it for the next couple of weeks, and won't be long and we'll be pulling everything out of the water again. We're getting close to the end of, excuse me, August. So anyway, guess that's it. And next video will be, I guess, some performance testing on this. So maybe next weekend, once we get some time on it, then we'll go for a ride and see how this thing actually performs. So until then, thanks for watching. Gotta love the DIs.